What's going on, and welcome to the MLB DFS Q&A. My name is Tom Vecchio. Again, I am filling in for Jim Sonis all this week and the beginning of next week for not only this show, the Q&A, but the Solo Shot Daily, 9 a.m. Both of these shows can be found on the YouTube page, the Twitch page, Facebook page, all live at 9 and 4 p.m. every day. Looking pretty good to have a pretty good slate overall. I think it should be pretty straightforward. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe the given platform that you are on. So just a quick couple things before we hop into some questions. As I mentioned earlier today, no weather issues. Weather is looking great. No issues at Yankee Stadium, no issues in Washington, D.C. for the Nationals. And then the other 5 games, all in domes. So we are in a good spot for weather. Next up, the pitchers. We are still technically waiting on confirmed pitchers for the Marlins and the Angels tonight. Everyone else is confirmed. Now, we could be seeing Jesus Luzardo for the Miami Marlins, and then we could be seeing Jose Suarez for the Los Angeles Angels. I think that's what we should be seeing. Technically, they haven't been confirmed as of yet, but I still think that we're in a good spot. So starting off, Savon from YouTube asked, how would you rank the Brewers for today's matchup? I think they're great. I think that they should be viewed as one of the top teams. This morning on the podcast, I specifically spoke about the Yankees and the Giants. I think that they're both in phenomenal spots, but it's not like I don't like the Brewers. We can't go through every single team. I kind of wanted to, dip down and look at the Mariners, who I still like. We can touch on them a little bit later, but I think that the Brewers are great tonight. Here are some of the Brewers players that you should be looking at tonight. They are, at home, which we know is a solid hitter's park. Willie Adames has been great since being traded to the Brewers, obviously bringing plenty of power. Avisail Garcia also brings plenty of power. But I would actually look at potentially Omar Narvaez as a potential option for some upside. Bring in a strong fly ball ratio. Doesn't have a whole lot of hard contact, has about a league average home run to fly ball ratio, but he has been consistent. So, we're splitting hairs here with a lot of these teams. I still think I would take the Yankees and the Giants slightly ahead of the Brewers tonight, but it's not like I don't like the Brewers overall in their matchup going up against Bryce Wilson, a pitcher that has a smaller sample size, but really hasn't shown a whole lot. Next up from Stream Elements, that is just the general thing. Kyle on YouTube is saying, hi, Tom. How do you like the Rays as a potential stack tonight? So the Rays are going up against Chris Flexen tonight. I actually think Chris Flexen is somewhat of a decent pitcher. He has a very low 15.5% strikeout rate this year. Right here, 15.5% strikeout rate, not allowing a whole lot of home runs. Very low walk rate, very strong pitcher when it comes to ground balls and his medium contact rate, which means he keeps the ball down and he's been known to limit the damage. The 4.74 Sierra is a little bit can be a little bit misleading, and it obviously shows that he potentially should be giving up more, runs than he is. But listen, 7 earned runs in his most recent start against the Astros is, of course, not good. But looking back at this game log, he's giving up 3 earned runs or fewer in 8 of his last 10 starts. That's due to the fact that he can get deeper into games without giving up those fly balls. Sure, he's not providing a massive ceiling of fantasy points at certain times, but he's also really not some gas can pitcher. He went up against the Astros in this most recent start. Every pitcher has a bad start. So I'm not really – and listen, 8 runs against San Diego, we know what we're getting from those teams. But really, these other teams, he's actually doing pretty well against. So I understand why people will want to go to the Rays tonight. It's really just not my favorite stack. If we're going to a stack that's a little bit off the board, I would actually look to the other side of the game with the Mariners. I would actually look to the Orioles tonight as a potential under the radar stack with a 3.96 implied run total. Yes, the Orioles at Yankee Stadium today, who are 220 road dogs, are a team I'm actually considering for some potential upside due to the fact that they're going up against Andrew Heaney. We looked at Heaney's numbers this year, and yes, I know that Heaney is going to be popular tonight with this 28.2% strikeout rate. We're seeing him as a massive home favorite going up against the Orioles, but we're also seeing him allowing 1.53 home runs per nine. A 41% fly ball ratio is not that good. Now, the 34% hard contact ratio actually isn't that bad, but he's giving up a 9.4% barrel rate, which is not good. Now, we have to account for the change in most of his games, at home, or was at home for him in LA. Now at Yankee Stadium, which is a negative park shift for him, giving up fly balls at Yankee Stadium is not a good choice. We could see him certainly give up a few home runs tonight. If we just take a look at the Orioles real quick, listen, they got some power in this lineup. Trey Mancini, Ryan Mountcastle, and Austin Hayes are probably the three players that I'd be targeting the most. Then looking to Cedric Mullins. So, listen, you want an under-the-radar stack? It might not be the Rays for me. It's actually looking to be more of an Orioles type night. And listen, they should not be popular as massive road underdogs, sitting at plus 220. Best stack and pitcher for GPP. I think that might be the Orioles. Like, if they're really not going to be popular tonight, do we have a confirmed lineup for them? Let's just give this a quick refresh to see what Orioles, or if we have an Orioles lineup. Rangers, Yankees, Phillies, Mariners, Nationals. We don't have the Orioles yet. So I'm going to lean with the Orioles for that power upside and the home run potential that Heaney really has allowed this season. And then what pitcher would I actually look to? It could be Jose Suarez, who should be pitching again, not yet confirmed, but should be pitching for the Angels tonight. Listen, if he's going to be out there, I think we really need to account for maybe not his skill overall, but we want to be looking at the Rangers lineup, which is just absolutely terrible. Removing Joey Gallo from that lineup does not make it any better. 21.8% strikeout rate this season is obviously not great. We're dealing with a smaller sample size. We look back to 2019, the last time he had a decent sample size. The strikeout rate is around the same. But what do we do know from him? Listen, a 54% ground ball rate and an almost 60% medium contact rate is absolutely phenomenal, showing the ability to limit the damage. So I would actually look to Suarez as a potential GPP option. And only $7,000 could allow you to really just pay up for a full Yankee stack, a full Giant stack, if that's what you're looking to do. Josh asking from YouTube, do you like a Baltimore stack? Yeah, I just mentioned it briefly. If you're just tuning in, we're just hopping in a little bit later. The Orioles are actually a team that I do like tonight. I said it earlier. I understand why Heaney's going to be popular. I do. I get it. A 28% strikeout rate for a pitcher that is $7,600. Only probable starters. Where's Heaney? Heaney's $7,600. He has a 28.2% strikeout rate. He's at home. He's a massive favorite for the Yankees. All these sorts of things. I get all that. He's still allowing 1.53 home runs per nine. Now, if you were to tell me, at the end of the night, Heaney goes out there and he pitches 6 innings and gives up 2 earned runs and has 6 or 7 strikeouts, I'm not going to be surprised. But also, if you told me that Heaney went out there and pitched 5 innings and gave up 5 earned runs, I'm also not going to be surprised if 2 of those or 3 of those earned runs came via the home run. Like, I'm not going to be surprised by either outcome. Right? I don't think that Heaney has a lot of middling performances where he's either going to be on one end with a lot of strikeouts and this 28.2% strikeout rate is going to be shining through, or it's going to be the 1.53 home runs per nine and a 41% fly ball rate. That's what's going to be shining through. So if you want to go to Baltimore on a slate where they should not be popular, this is the slate to do it, right? Every team can put up 10 runs. The Orioles have shown the ability to do that, and it's not like going to a Baltimore stack. They're not confirmed yet, the Orioles. I'll just give this a refresh. We'll go back to here. But going to an Orioles stack, Mullins, Mancini, even Santander, Mountcastle, Austin Hayes, some of these players have legit power. Like, we should not be denying them just because they're road underdogs in an apparent, tough matchup. So I'm fully on board with Baltimore tonight. Like I said, I'm actually going to be on board with the Mets tonight if we do get Jesus Luzardo confirmed as the starting pitcher for the Marlins. It's Mr. Jackie Moon just stopping by to say hi. Good to have you here tonight. Thanks for being here. I recognize your name from the last time I was on. I think you asked about Didn't you ask about that hitter parlay for all the players to have like 2 or 3 hits on the same night, if I remember correctly? Brian Hamilton from Facebook is asking best value plays for tonight. So do you mean value plays in terms of strictly hitters or a value stack overall? If you give me some more details on that, I gave you a little bit of a clear answer. Brian Hamilton on Facebook. Do you want specific hitters for like a specific position, or do you just want like a stack overall? Take a look at the lineups. Hopefully Brian will get back to us. Hitters overall. Okay. So you want specific value hitters overall from Brian for some value. So like I said, I do like Seattle a little bit, and Abraham Toro has been hot for them since being traded. He's under $3,000. You could certainly be looking there. Once we get the Giants confirmed starting lineup, that's something I certainly want to be going towards or looking towards for some potential value. Probably the easiest answer for this is going to be someone in the Yankees lineup, because both Gary Sanchez and Gleyber Torres are under $3,000, with Gleyber being $2,900 and Gary Sanchez being $2,800. I think those are very, very easy players to drop into your lineup. If we look at the Yankees lineup overall, listen, a bottom half stack in their lineup of Stanton, Odor, Sanchez, and Gleyber Torres really isn't that expensive. Odor is $3,200, Gleyber is $2,900, Gary Sanchez is $2,800. So those are some of the hitters that I would look to. Also waiting on the Giants lineup. As I said, we could be certainly getting some value there because they're in a great spot going up against Taylor Widener. Julius Caesar on Facebook is asking, are the Giants a good stack tonight? Absolutely. Absolutely. The Giants are probably my second favorite stack on tonight's slate, coming with a 5.43 implied run total. Like I said, going up against Taylor Widener, a young pitcher for the Diamondbacks. He doesn't have a large sample size, but he's a player in the 36.2 innings that he has pitched so far. Giving up too many home runs, giving up too many fly balls, 1.96 home runs per 9, very modest 21.6% strikeout rate, 47% fly ball rate, and a 44% hard contact rate. So yes, going to the Giants and any of these hitters up at the top, whoever happens to be in their starting lineup. Like I said, on the solo shot this morning, Lamonte Wade Jr. was pulled early from yesterday's game, dealing with this back injury. So depending on what they actually do with their lineup, we could be getting a bit of value, but really overall, the Giants are in a phenomenal spot tonight. Diffuse on YouTube is asking Nelson Cruz as a one-off in GPPs. Of course, we can always be looking to Nelson Cruz. Whoops. Bring up Nelson Cruz's stats real quickly. Looking for his splits going up against Chris Flexen is right here. Nelson Cruz. Look at his splits versus right-handed pitching. What do we have? We have a very strong 249 ISO. Obviously, he's going to be plenty strong with the fly ball rate, and of course a 23.4% home run to fly ball ratio. You can always look to him as a one-off. Like I said, I'm not in love with the Rays as a stack tonight against Chris Flexen just because of the ballpark. He keeps the ball down so much with the medium contact and the ground balls that I would look to, a one-off, like you said, with Nelson Cruz. You could also look to Brandon Lau, I think, is a fine option. You want to go to Austin Meadows as a one-off is also a play. Favorite third baseman, John Rosenberg on YouTube is asking third baseman overall. Point per dollar tonight. I mean, DJ LeMahieu's only $3,000. I know he's been having his struggles this season. You could be going to him. If you want the value play, I would go with Abraham Toro. Like I said, he's been hitting the ball well. But I'm on board with Kyle Seager as well, going up against Michael Wacha, who's giving up too many home runs to righties. I think Michael Wacha is due for some negative regression when it comes to the amount of home runs that he's giving up to lefties, because he's actually not giving up a whole lot of home runs to lefties this season, even though the fly ball rate is there. So for me, from a point per dollar basis, you just want to take LeMahieu at $3,000. Not expensive at all. He's not a deep value play, but getting exposure at the top of the lineup for the Yankees, who have a 6.04 implied run total, is obviously nothing that you want to be passing up. Savon is asking best pitcher for single entry tonight. It's probably going to be Heaney, right? We want upside that probably comes with his strikeout potential with a 28.2% strikeout rate. I don't know if many other pitchers can really, match with him if he actually gets that going. Like if he can get out of that. Josiah Gray, I know a lot of people are going to be on for. He's not with the Dodgers anymore. He's now on the Nationals, but just the overall upside that Heaney brings, I think you can go with him in a single entry. Going with Gray, I understand, the strikeout rate that he has shown, but this is the issue, right? This is the issue for him. He's not going deep into games, right? Sure, he's racking up plenty of strikeouts in this time, but if he's only going to be going 4 innings, especially being after traded to a new team, they might not throw him out there for a super long amount. Like he may not break 30 fantasy points again. Right now, you could say, oh, he's only $6,000, but there's no one like super, super expensive. You could be left with some salary left on the table, which is obviously not something that you wanted to be doing. So Heaney ultimately is probably the best option. Alvin White on YouTube is asking the top 3 stacks on tonight's slate. So top 3 stacks, it's going to be the Yankees, the Giants, and the Brewers. I know that seems super chalky, but they really are in the best spots. They have a solid combination of, some expensive hitters that you want, but they also offer some value like the Yankees. We're still waiting on the confirmed lineup for the Giants, which, it's only 4:17 on the East Coast, so we might not be getting that as of now. We might be waiting a few hours for that, but the Brewers are also in a great spot. Realistically, they are just the offenses that are in the best spot. Do I like taking a shot with the Orioles? Yes. That's the whole point. I'm shooting for their upside if they do happen to have a great game against a pitcher like Heaney, who is home run prone, but that's obviously on the, the lower end of outcomes when it comes to their bell curve. What is their projection? The Orioles having 10 plus runs is obviously on the lower end. I like them in tournaments, but they're really not the top 3 best stacks on tonight's slate. That's going to, of course, be in line with the Yankees, the Giants, and the Brewers. What are your thoughts on stacking Seattle and Baltimore? I think that they're both good stacks. Would I use them together in the same lineup if that's what you're asking? That should be like a really, really under the radar lineup combination. Like that should be at super, super low rostership rates, which would be great for tournaments if they do happen to go off. So I've spoken a lot about the Orioles. If I look to, let me just bring up Waka's stats so I can, show you why I am, considering the Mariners tonight. Right. So we look to Waka's stats this year. Obviously normal amount of innings pitched, 1.77 home runs per 9. That's not great. He has a 22.1% strikeout rate, very modest overall, 36.5% fly ball rate, 39.2% hard contact rate. Now, Waka is a right-handed pitcher, and like I said before, he is showing reverse splits where he's actually allowing a significant amount of home runs versus righties than he is versus lefties, which is obviously why I said he should be due for some negative regression versus lefties, which is why I would target a player like Kyle Seager potentially from the Mariners. We looked at some of these fly ball rates. They're not good. A 49% hard contact rate versus righties is absolutely terrible. So if you wanted to go to Seattle and go to a player like Mitch Haniger, Kyle Seager has great splits versus righties, and I think that Waka's in the spot for some negative regression against lefties overall. I think that's fine. Ty France is certainly in play. I mentioned Abraham Toro a few times. Taking a shot with Cal Raleigh and Jared Kelenic, to their young prospects that they call up, are obviously really, really deep GPP plays. That's not a spot I would be going right off the jump, but I would be looking to Haniger and Seager. Now, stacking them together with Baltimore, that is a really, really you're hoping for a 1% outcome. You're hoping that the Mariners and the Orioles go off, which is not something I traditionally do. I want the Yankees to have a huge game. And if I pair the Yankees with the Mariners, I already have one outcome that should be relatively stable. And then if the Mariners do have a big game, that's where it'll really boost the lineup. And then I'll mix in like Mariners with the Brewers, Mariners with the Giants. So I have a little bit of exposure if the Mariners do go crazy and the other teams take care of what they should be doing, which is putting up 6 or 7 or 5 runs, whatever it might be. That's when the Mariner stack really shines through because we have them in combination with what they should already be doing. Washington stack, it's a pen game for the Phils. The Washington, their lineup is confirmed already. Yeah, we have the Nationals. We know the power that the Nationals can bring, obviously. I should say we know that the power that the Nationals could bring. Obviously, their lineup is looking a little bit different in these last couple of days. Juan Soto and Josh Bell are clearly going to be the 2 best options overall. The Philly bullpen, I think that's why you're bringing up is due to the fact that Aaron on YouTube is bringing this up is because the Philly bullpen is just not good. And that's obviously the case this season. We know that for them overall. I think you can go with it. Let me just get the lineup in front of me instead of going through one by one. Phillies, Nationals, Sanchez, Soto, Bell, Hernandez, Carter, Boom. Like, parts of that lineup are not great, but also, listen, the Phillies bullpen is not great. So, yeah, I'm on board with it. Let's see. The Washington has a 4.21. Like, this is a spot where the Phillies or the Nationals could be going overlooked a little bit, where everyone might jump to the chalky options with the Yankees and the Giants and the Brewers. And then if people get on board with the Mets or the Orioles or the Mariners, as I've kind of mentioned, one of these teams in the middle could go overlooked. And if that means the Nationals, I'm on board with that. Dan is saying you don't like Seattle as much as I did this morning. I do. It's Seattle in the right spots, though. It's not just loading up on Seattle just for the sake of doing it. It's in the right spots because, I don't think Walker's that strong of a pitcher. And if he's going to be continuing to give up, these big fly ball numbers, these big hard contact numbers, and frankly, he's probably due for some negative regression when it comes to his home run to fly ball ratio versus left-handed hitters. 6.7% home run to fly ball ratio. That is well better than the league average. Like, he should be due for some negative regression if he's giving up a 35% fly ball ratio. So I am on board with Seattle. Like, I'm not going to be going overboard on them, but they are, they're probably right behind the Orioles as my favorite under the radar stack. Aaron is saying Seattle because they're hungry. You're right. They are just a couple spots out of the wild card. They're actually playing pretty well. Like, they're within striking distance. Everyone thought Seattle was going to be atrocious this year, and they're actually looking pretty good. My top 2 home run picks from Salvator on YouTube. Like I said this morning, Brandon Crawford is number 1, and then it's going to be Pete Alonso. So if we do get Jesus Luzardo confirmed for the Marlins, if he does get in fact confirmed as the starter for the Marlins tonight, I'm really looking at Pete Alonso tonight. Look at this, 2.86 home runs per 9 allowed to righties this year from Luzardo is absolutely terrible. A 48% fly ball ratio and a 35% hard contact ratio, 21.4% home run to fly ball ratio versus righties. If I bring up Alonso's numbers real quick, not that I need to show that Pete Alonso is a great home run hitter, but his numbers versus lefties this year are insane. A 366 ISO is a 160 WRC plus, a 52% fly ball ratio, a 27.9% home run to fly ball ratio, a little bit lower than I would want, a 32.9% hard contact rate, but the numbers for Pete Alonso in this matchup for his home run potential are absolutely crazy. So I said Brandon Crawford earlier this morning. I would add Pete Alonso. I would add some of the other Mets players if we get their confirmed starting lineup. Let's just double check this. The Mets are confirmed. Nimmo, Alonso, McNeil, Javi Baez, the new addition, JD Davis. This lineup has power. Let me bring up the Mets. It's lefties, Baltimore, New York. Update this. Pete Alonso, of course, leads the way. Javi Baez isn't here just because he's been recently added. He doesn't have the plate appearances as a Met to qualify for this, but James McCann is there. I'm on board with some of the Mets. As I said, I mentioned them earlier this morning on the podcast. How would I create a lineup tonight? We don't show examples here. Not really something that we would do. Alvin is asking, do you like Megill and Rays over Giants for single entry? For single entry, yes, because you would be trying to get away from the high rostership rates that San Fran is likely going to be carrying. But if they're going to be super chalky, like you want those teams that are under the radar. Now, can the Rays go off for a ton of runs like they did a couple days on Thursday or whatever it was against the Yankees? Absolutely. I think Chris Flexen isn't the worst pitcher in the league. His 15.5% strikeout rate isn't obviously good at all, but he also keeps the ball low on the ground with medium contact. So it certainly limits the damage against him. But if you're looking to take advantage of a single entry and you want teams that are super, super low rostership rates, yes, I would be going with the Rays ahead of the Giants because we're going to be fading some of the chalk. Michael is saying that Luzardo is starting for Miami. If that's confirmed, that's great. It's confirmed right here. I missed that when I refreshed. Yeah, he's confirmed for the Marlins today. Like I said, the Mets are in a good spot. They have a lot of power. Now, will a lot of people be on board with the Mets because they are in Miami, which is just a massive, massive pitcher's park? Will they be on board with, stacking the Mets tonight? I don't think so. I think that what makes the Mets that much more interesting tonight is getting them super low in GPPs with the home run potential that they clearly have against a pitcher that is allowing way, way too many home runs this season. So yes, I will be looking to some of the Mets. Aaron is also saying that Walker stinks. I agree with that. Diffuse on YouTube is saying, could you omit Chris Bryant from a Giants stack due to his price point and the depth of the Giants lineup, or is he someone to prioritize? That's a really good question. That's the kind of question that I like when it comes to how should you be approaching stacking this specific team. We don't have the Giants as of now. Nope, not the Diamondbacks, the Giants. So yes, you can be fading Chris Bryant or just simply omitting him from your Giant stacks due to the fact that they have, do I still have the Giants brought up here somewhere? No, let me just bring up the Giants versus righties real quick. And you can, if you know that Chris Bryant is going to be super popular and you want to omit him, A, because he's going to be popular, or B, like you said, his salary is too much where he doesn't fit within your lineup build where you have another expensive stack like the Yankees. Maybe you're paying up for DeSclafani and you don't have the salary to fit another player over 4,000. Yes. And if Lamonte Wade Jr. is in the lineup, you should absolutely be looking to him with a 355 ISO. Chris Bryant's not on here because he doesn't qualify for the plate appearances as a Giant versus righties this year. We could expand that and get him on here, but we still have plenty of options. Lamonte Wade, Mike Yastrzemski, Darren Ruff, and Brandon Crawford are absolutely the four players you could be going with. You want to go to Buster Posey? Absolutely. So yes, omitting Chris Bryant from a Giant stack is perfectly fine. You're getting players that are, great point per dollar production, and you're getting home run upside with Yastrzemski and Brandon Crawford. So perfect question there. Sounds like a Met stack tonight. Yeah, I'm on board with it. Aaron is saying Rizzo tonight. Would you stack him? Of course. I think that Rizzo and Gallo are both going to be extremely popular tonight. Their first games at Yankee Stadium, whether it was their first games at Yankee Stadium, their 100th game at Yankee Stadium, it does not matter. It's really about the matchup going up against Jorge Lopez and the left-handed power that they both bring at Yankee Stadium with the short porch. So, of course, be stacking the Yankees. Go to Rizzo, go to Gallo. I think that they're both in fantastic spots. So I like Tyler Megill tonight versus Miami. This is what Kyle on YouTube is asking. I do. Overall, we're not. Let me just bring up the pitchers. I actually have him right here already brought up. Yes, a smaller 35.1 inning sample size, strong 27% strikeout rate. He's not allowing too many home runs. Yes, I'm on board with him. We look to some of his recent performances, and they are very strong. The Marlins, removing Duvall and whoever else was they traded away from their lineup, makes the Marlins lineup that much weaker, and it's really not a lineup you should be worried about. So Tyler Megill at $8,500 should be one of the most popular pitchers on the slate. I would say it's a toss-up between really Heaney, Megill, and then probably DeSclafani in that order. It's what I think is going. Those three are going to be the most popular pitchers on tonight's slate. Miami Park scares you, Ken is saying on YouTube. I think that's what you're saying in regards to the home run upside for the Mets. And you don't want to be stacking them because of the park factor. I get that, right? But what happens if that home run rate, the volume of home runs that Luzardo is allowing, what happens if that shines through, right? And Pete Alonso does have a home run. The Mets won't be popular because of the park. I absolutely agree with that. But that also is what makes them so interesting in tournaments, because if they do go off for 3 or 4 home runs, like the Mets can be a tournament winning stack tonight with the home run upside that Luzardo has or is allowing. So I'll be looking to the Mets tonight for a little bit of power. I'll be looking to Baltimore for a little bit of power. I think that those are two really nice potential under the radar teams on top of the Yankees, the Giants, and the Brewers, who should be very chalky. All right, so I think that does it. We have a good grasp of the slate. We want to get the Giants confirmed starting lineup, and we can go from there. As always, this is the FanDuel Q&A for MLB DFS. I will be back tomorrow morning for the Soul Shot at 9 a.m. since Jim Sanas is out this week. You can follow me on Twitter at DFS_Tom. You can make sure to follow, like, subscribe on the given platform that you are, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, no matter where it is. We're in a good spot for tonight's slate. We should see plenty of home runs, and we should see plenty of options for tournaments. Again, we'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for the Soul Shot. And until next time, good luck in your contests.